last night in my house, in this room, I captured the most amazing spirit image I've ever captured in my 9 years of doing this work. Stay tuned because you're about to see probably the most incredible spirit photo you have ever seen, possibly. I was in my house last night trying to capture images. I'll tell you the story of how this came to be in this video, and I'll share many images with you of spirits. I'll also talk a little bit about the very first spirit photographer ever from the 1800s and take you along this journey with me as once again I try to push the limits of ITC. What the heck is that? Calling on this gentleman's spirit right here. Would you like to come through? You're still here? As a kid, I remember watching the show That's Incredible as a photographer shooting film captured a full-body apparition in a Toys R Us store.
This seemingly normal toy store is a popular place for local kids. It's at night, after closing time, when the toy store becomes most haunted.
The seance members gathered in an aisle. Bill Tidwell of Alpha Photo in Oakland was in charge of photography.
Both of these cameras are 35mm single-lens reflex cameras. One of them set up with black and white infrared film. The other one's set up with a very high-speed black and white film.
Johnny, or Yanni, come towards me this way a little bit. He's got his hands in his pockets. He's looking down at his feet.
The photograph in this proof sheet was taken with infrared film. At the same time, the photograph on this proof sheet was taken with high-speed film. The incredible thing is that the enlarged infrared photograph shows a shadowy figure standing at the back of the picture that does not show up in the photographs taken with high-speed film.
Now that photo impressed the heck out of me as a kid, and that whole segment of the program did. I wanted to believe it so bad, but I was skeptical even though I was into ghosts and the afterlife. But here they had a professional photographer, controlled environment, and a full figure was captured at the end of this store aisle. It was chilling, it was incredible, and my whole life I had hoped to capture a full-body apparition such as this. Now, stay tuned because I'm going to show you this amazing full-body apparition that I caught in this room last night. But before I do that, I want to show some history of what I've done. There was a time a few years ago I was in Tombstone, Arizona with a group of people at an event at the then Sister Paranormal in Tombstone in the old Undertaker's building. And we had a bar set up with whiskey, and I asked if one of the spirits could step up to the bar and grab a bottle of whiskey as I was taking photos, and everybody was behind, in chairs watching as this happened, and we had green lasers up. I snapped some photos and I played it back in real time for everybody there. And lo and behold, in one of the images, we have a frame showing the spirit of somebody. You see the face, which looks kind of weird. You see a body and you see an arm. And most importantly, you see a hand grabbing for a bottle of whiskey. Now, keep in mind, this was done live and shown live to the group there. I didn't have to take it home and look at it on a computer. It was right there on the camera screen, and this happened live, and that was a full-body apparition with even nail detail in the fingernail area. I always say spirits are energy, right? And I also say that I feel anyway that when they show up in a manifestation in a photograph in human form, they're showing us what they once looked like in life. For many reasons. It could be to validate to a loved one, to say, I'm here, you can see me now, things like that. So they have the capability to do that. As I've said over the years, spirits use ghost boxes, radio ghost boxes, apps. They all use them in the same way, by manipulation of audio. That's how spirits speak, period, end of story. It's been tested, it's been proven, it's been shown again and again. But if spirits, and they do, can manipulate audio to speak, then I've had theories over the years of how they can manifest in a photo. They can use water to manifest, as many out there in the world do today, each and every day. Water scrying. Some people are capturing photorealistic images using water scrying. Some people use smoke, fire. Spirits can use various elements of a scene and piece it together to form an image. They manipulate imagery just as they do audio. So I had a theory back years ago when I was on the Queen Mary ship, and I'm going to show you another photo that at the time I thought was just amazing. I was on the Queen Mary, and the only people in the pool area was myself, a security guard, and a historian from San Diego who documented things on the ship. And I was taking photos of the pool area. Nobody else was shown in the pool. Nobody was there. Lo and behold, in one image, we see a man standing at the pool looking up as he's like holding on to the edge of a guardrail, and he's looking up, and it looks like he was wearing old 1800s attire. That was an amazing image. And the way I captured it was by using a camera and cranking up its ISO to the maximum it could go. And I think the camera I had then was 102,000 ISO. My theory was maybe spirits can use this grain, right, from an image, just like they use audio to form audio messages. Maybe they can use grain and noise in an image to form a picture. And lo and behold, this spirit did. I was reading books over the last week, right? I've been reading, and this is just one of them right here. I've been reading up on the history of spirit photography. And this one here is about William Mumler in the 1800s. He was an American who was basically the inventor of spirit photography. And according to him, he was taking a self-portrait one day using an old wet plate film system that they used back then. And when he developed it, he said he saw a spirit behind him in the photo. And he started taking photos of people, and spirits would show up behind them. At least that's what his claim was. If you look at the photos today, they look an awful lot like a double exposure. So William Mumler became very, very popular in the 1800s, and everybody was wanting to come to him for a sitting to see if they can get their loved one appear behind them. And some swore that their mother, their father showed up behind them in these photos. But of course, with all that attention came skeptics. He was charging something like $10 a photo. And skeptics, hardcore skeptics were saying he was a fraud and there were techniques you can use to get that effect, which there were and there are still today, double exposure. But he had one hardcore skeptic who came and said, well, if you can take my photo and let me watch you from beginning to end and a spirit shows up behind me, I will pay you $50. So the skeptic came in, the skeptic watched him like a hawk, never took his eye off the camera or William, followed him through to develop it, and lo and behold, a spirit showed up behind him, which he then offered William his $50, and William refused it and said, just take the photo, thank you very much. But then after William, other people came throughout Europe and tried the same double exposure technique. Some came out and said they were frauds. So a lot of that back then was so tainted with fraud and, people charging money to do it as a business. So it's very interesting, though. This is one of the books here, The Strange Case of William Mumler, Spirit Photographer. And you can get this on Amazon. And there's another book that's awesome as well. I'll put links to those in the description if you're interested. Well worth a read, and they're loaded with their original spirit photographs, or supposed spirit photographs. So I've been on this kick where I'm like, I want to start getting to the point where I can get a spirit in an image that's better than what I've gotten in the past. So I was walking through my house last night, and I decided to crank the ISO up and use the same technique I used on the Queen Mary to see if I can crank the noise and see if spirits can use that to form imagery like they do messages in a audio recording, an audio session. But imagery has always been one of those things that has been tricky, right? You can't reproduce it every time. There's times I've tried water scrying sessions and smoke and I have gotten nothing. I took about 40 to 50 pictures here last night, and I recorded 4 that I can't explain, and 1 that just had my jaw drop to the floor in disbelief. And I knew as soon as I saw it that many people were going to have a hard time believing this photo. I mean, if I saw this photo posted somewhere on Facebook, I would be very skeptical of it. I'm a very skeptical person by nature when it comes to this, but I also know what is possible. If you saw my last video with the Bible oil, my portal continued to have a film of oil on it for days, even after wiping it. As of today, the film is gone. It's not dripping oil. But that was unexplainable to me. But I believe anything is possible because I'm a guy who does things that many claim are impossible, right? What I captured last night in this room is a full body apparition, head to legs to almost feet, of an old man with a big white beard, white hair on the sides, skinny legs, and what looks like other legs behind him in my doorway of this room right in front of me to the left. So I took some images around the house. The first one I took, I'll show you right now. So this image here, it's in my music room door. It's just glass, it's not mirrors. It was dark, so I set my camera to ISO 12,500, I believe it was, and a 2-second shutter speed. Now, those of you who are familiar with camera lingo will know what that means. But basically, it's keeping the shutter open long enough to suck in any available light that could be coming into the sensor. So it increases the sensitivity of the sensor by having the ISO at 12,500, therefore producing grain and noise. So I saw my reflection in the glass. I focused on me. I pressed the button down and said, please show yourself if you're near me or with me. And this is what happened. You see this red glow, which almost looks like ribs or lungs, and a little face above that. And this is unexplainable. I don't know where this came from. I'm a photographer and I don't know where this came from. So this picture is to me unexplainable, right? We really can't say what it is. So then I go and I take a couple more photos and I go to my doorway here and I say, okay, spirits, I know you can hear me. I know you communicate with me. I know this room is always full of spirits wanting to talk. I do group sessions here. I do sessions here. I reach loved ones for people here from Patreon. I'm always doing spirit work in this room. So I said, please show yourself if you can. And I held that camera. I took a picture of my doorway from the hallway. And when I loaded that back up in the computer, what I saw blew my mind, and here it is. What you will see here is what I see is a spirit of a man, old man with a beard. He almost looks like a feeble, short, older gentleman. And you see him standing in the doorway, leaning against the door as to say, I'm in line to talk. Whenever you're going to start a session, I'm in line. So that's the vibe I got from it. Other people have seen it on my Patreon. I posted the full-size image on my Patreon so people could download the image and take a look at it closer. And other people have said that they see spirits behind him, legs and other things. And, you know, I don't know, but I just know that this figure, this full-body apparition, is the best spirit image I've ever captured. You see detail, eyes. You see a nose. You see the beard. There's a woman on my Patreon who said it's a spitting image of her husband. And she's been taking part in my group nights. And that's where I try to reach loved ones for people using sessions and calling out their names. And if that is the case, if this is someone's loved one coming through, this is one of the biggest breakthroughs I've had as a spirit researcher. This photo is unexplainable, as in I don't know how a spirit did that. Spirits are energy, they need energy. They were probably feeding off my energy, but it happened. Spirits manipulated elements of the image, the noise, the light being sucked in, and just like they manipulate audio to speak, This spirit in particular manipulated that image and was able to show a full body apparition. And it just looks ethereal. It looks kind of, dreamy, and that's just how it is. It's amazing. So this is something I want to focus on more going forward. I'm going to start trying to take photos like this during group night with this technique. I am going to try to put more energy into visualization, because when I did that for audio communication, things just got better and better. So I'm hoping this trend continues. Can you tell me who's in this image? Does anybody know his name? I'm calling on this gentleman's spirit right here. Would you like to come through? You're still here? You can talk. I just heard you. You were here last night and you're still here. Thank you. I heard you. You tell me something? You want to tell me something? What do you want to tell me? I have another photo here I took last night. This was in another room in a mirror. And I was, again, I think I had the shutter to 2 seconds. ISO was high. And I said, if you're attached to me, show me. I want to see you here in this image. And what looks like to me, and this is not nearly as good as the old man image, but it looks like there's a form to the left of me. If you're looking at the image, I'm on the right. You can see my shape. But on the left, it looks like another form holding up a hand, waving with super long fingers. So that one, again, unexplainable. I had another one here that some of you might not be able to see, but I sent it to my friend Josh at Huff Paranormal, and he saw it right away. It was in the same bathroom mirror. ISO to 50,000, I think. No light on. There's no light. I left that shutter open. That's why I'm so blurry. But it looks like there's a head to the right of me in the image. You'll look to the right of me, and it looks like a gray alien head. You see a big bulbous head, 2 big eyes, a small chin, and it looks like he's like hanging around my shoulder. That one's harder to see, but it's there. Finally, I did an experiment with Debbie right in this chair, and I wanted to see if I could capture a spirit behind her, just like William Mumler used to claim that he would do. I videotaped while I was taking the images, as you can see here. I had it dark in here. I was trying to use the similar techniques, and I did not catch a spirit form behind her or around her. But I did catch this, and it was very unusual. Now, as you can see, I have 2 lights here in the background. These exact lights were on when I took Debbie's photo. Now, I took this photo and I saw some light energy coming from her head going to the left. And so I inverted the image to make it more prevalent so you can see it. And what it looks like is some kind of energy going to the left. Now, could it be the light somehow? Yes, it could be. But at the same time, the light on the right is not doing that. So why is it just this stream from her head to the light? It's unexplainable. That one I'm not saying is paranormal, but it's unexplainable. It's light. Light is energy. Spirits are light. So we never know. That could have been almost like her light coming out. I'm not sure. So here's something cool for you guys. I'm going to show you how people in the past and people even today fake spirit images by using a kind of a double exposure. But here I'm going to take my camera, put it on a tripod. I'm going to focus on Debbie, and I'm going to take a 20-second exposure. It's going to record her sitting still, and I'm going to run behind her midway point with a sheet over me, and I'm going to stay in the frame for a couple seconds and then run out. And then when that image is processed in camera, it's going to look like something is coming out of her side. Here is the resulting image of what came of that test there to show you
how you can fake a spirit image. I don't know why anybody would ever want to do this or do it. That is just awful. It's a mockery of spirits. It's a mockery of this kind of research. But it can be done with modern day technology. Now, going back to my image of the old man, but I know a lot of you are going to be very skeptical of it. I want to say I totally understand. I get it, but it is what it is. And for me to not put it out there would be a disservice, because what I do is push love. I want to show people we never die. We do go on, and it's all about love. Love is the key. I love what I do here. I love the spirits. I love you guys. And it's all about having God in your heart and soul, which I do, though I'm not religious. Remember that, I'm spiritual. Thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate it. I will have more videos soon. I hope you found this interesting, and coming up in the future, there'll be more communication as well as more photos.